semis and grand final middle eight stay the exact way it is.
That's
one idea to cut down the things. There was the wobbly-headed bull did his suggestion, which was broadly 12 teams, 2 up, 2 down, 5-team playoff, and an expanded Challenge Cup section, which I thought was interesting. I've never seen that expanded Challenge Cup idea floated out there. It's similar to how they used to run the Northern Rail Cup that now effectively is sort of
the League One shield.
In a way, I mean, they used to involve Championship and Championship 1 clubs when it was called Championship 1. By the way, this is a reminder to everyone out there that it's called League 1 now. It has been for 2 or 3 years. Stop calling it Championship 1 in your tweets, in your commentary on TV, in your letters to newspapers. I don't know how hard it is. League 1, not Championship 1.
Right.
It's one of my bugbears, Thomas.
I can tell.
Grinds my gears.
You've called me Thomas. I can tell it's upset you.
Yeah.
I can't elongate your name.
Well,
Marcusio.
People do, but Tyler Casfan says, and this section's going to run today, and the feedback. This is the shame of Wigan now. Tyler Casfan says, less than a week on from one of the best weekends for the sport, rugby league descends into complete farce. I'll roll through all of these before I talk about it then, Tom. Gareth Sunley, who's a Widnes fan, says, hello, just thought I would write to you and ask your thoughts on the reversing of the Wigan versus Widnes fixture. Do you think this would happen in many other sports? Both me and my dad have followed Widnes for years and both been season ticket holders for years. As I live far away from Widnes itself, nighttime games are hard to make, and at this short notice there is no chance of me making it. This was lunchtime on Friday, obviously. While I understand this is making the best of a bad situation and someone is going to lose out, in this case me, I can't help but wonder what Widnes as a club get out of it. At £10 a ticket with a lower gate, less money, I will bet. I am just sad I miss out on what is normally a packed stadium compared to normal, even if the highlight of last year's game was a fire in the stands. It was the worst game of the season. The 7-0 win. Ian Gatwood at Gatwardian, if you want to follow him, he says, what is your take on this Wigan Warriors RL affair, and what exactly was said and were the RFL involved in this decision? Fatboy Rob says, what punishment should Wigan get for bringing the game into disrepute, and what do you think the real reason for the postponement switch is? And then Wally Frogmore said, well, this whole saga over the DW really because the football club wouldn't let the Warriors use the pitch. Do you have any take on this whole farce?
It's just very rugby league, and I almost feel nostalgic about it, Mark, to be perfectly honest with you. It certainly didn't... Look, I think sometimes we like a reason to get up in arms, and I think sometimes we like an excuse to bash Wigan, Leeds, Saints, the big clubs, when we're the little ones. And no, it's not ideal, and no, it doesn't paint things in the right light, and yes, it's a bit art backwards, but Wigan come under a certain amount of pressure from the people that they share space with in the football club. They have that to manage. Would it have happened in another sport? No. Has it happened? Yes. Has it dramatically impacted anything? No. The problem is it doesn't. The only reason this can happen the way it did is because of Widnes' pitch. That's the only sort of thing that legitimises, we'll switch it because you've got the all-weather pitch. And the reason they wanted to make that change was under the banner of this horrible weather. That was the party line early days, as far as I'm concerned. Now, as it transpired, the weather wasn't quite as bad, and there were teams playing in that vicinity that also played around about the same time in that weather. It's irritating. I mean, luckily Widnes played ball, because there was some conversation about whether or not they could try and classify it as an unfulfilled fixture or Wigan backing out. And so credit to Widnes for, as an organisation and as a club, for being not the bigger men about it, but for having that kind of attitude and approach to it. I think that's absolutely commendable, because it would have been very easy with some of the small minds that exist in rugby league for people to dig their heels and go, well, no, it's an unfulfilled fixture, we should get your points. Particularly when you think the points are going to be at a premium for Widnes this year.
Yeah.
So fair fucking play to them for doing that and putting it on. I think... I don't want to say it's because it's Wigan. It's a really easy drum to bang, and I'm not arsed about that, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, there are bigger problems in this world. So the game got played, you very nearly got spanked. and had your pants pulled down over it, which would have been great to see. And I'm sure everyone would have forgotten all about it by now if you guys had been beaten. But what are your thoughts? You're coming at this from the kind of the perpetrators, exactly from the perpetrator's point of view, almost being part of Wigan. So,
yeah. Well,
but then of course,
first things first. I think the genuine reason was what was published as the reason in terms of Wigan Athletic said to us, "Look at all this rain today. The pitch is looking nasty already. If it rains like this tomorrow and Friday night as it's been forecast, we ain't going to get our game on after your game. Sort of like we should take priority because it's going to be harder for us in the Football League season to rearrange a game than it would be for you right at the start of your season, sort of thing. Because you might get free weekends, we won't." That was kind of the thought process to it. The part of me thinks that there's an element of Wigan Athletic wanting to try and put us back in our place because we were just world champs and show us up, and it really has showed us up. Part of it is we communicated this very badly, but I don't know if there was an out for us in terms of this. If we'd have been talking to Widnes about switching the fixture before our fans knew there was any doubt about the fixture taking place, our fans would have been wanting to lynch Ian Lenigan. They want to lynch him anyway for bowing down to the football team.
Right.
There's his conflict of interest by being the chairman of the Football League that kind of makes you wonder how soft his approach was. Was it the right approach for our rugby club? And that sort of thing. So that's a question mark over it too.
Yeah.
But he would have been absolutely lynched if he'd have been sorting stuff out behind closed doors without telling people the game was off. I think he comes out of it maybe better with the Wigan fans in a slight way by having said, right, the game's off, and then it getting sorted out. It also makes Widnes come off as the heroes rather than them being forced to do something, because no one's talking about how much money they've got paid to put the game on. People are just talking about how great it was that they got the game on, and it was great that they got the game on. And the staff on the game were fantastic because they were getting some stupid questions asked of them that I saw at the turnstiles and stuff.
Like what?
Well, they printed this sign that basically said what the admission policy was for the game. £10 for anyone who hasn't got a season ticket.
Right.
Season ticket holders just use your season ticket that you would have used, sort of thing. But they just put the same poster on every turnstile, so Wigan fans were like, "But we haven't got a season ticket." And I was like, "Yeah, it's a tenner for us." It's what it said on the press release that we've all seen. It's a tenner for us. You won't be here if you've not read that. It's a tenner.
Maybe you should do some work for the Wigan PR team because you seem to have this covered.
There was.
Well, they're just making sure they're getting the right deal.
There was a bloke who came around before the game picking kids out of the stand to go and be the mascots, because normally at games you get community sides, don't they? They get community sides to bring on a kids team to be the mascots. Well, there was none of that. There was no time for any of that. So they sent a Widnes rep around the stands, and he came up in the Wigan stand getting Wigan fans, little young Wigan fans, to walk out with the Wigan players. It got I think Widnes.
Did you put your hand up?
I did ask if I was little enough. Widnes fans, I think they got on from like their Sunday Kids Club or whatever they call it. So they contacted the parents of those. I understand, and got their kids from that to get involved. So I thought that was really great, an experience that people won't get. And they tried to do something still. I thought the stewarding, it was a tough job for the stewards because a lot of Wigan fans turned up. 2,300 of us or so filled the end, and they had to find seats for people as people were coming in at the end, looking around like they should have been able to find a seat dead easy. But it was 5 to 8, and everyone had been there on the buses for got there an hour before that.
Right,
so they all did a wonderful job. I've lost my place in terms of all the points I want to make about this farce. So it was communicated badly. Whether or not we should have told Widnes before there was a press release, I'm not so sure. I don't see why Widnes needed to know if we weren't able to put the fixture on, but as they were able to then help us get the fixture on, obviously those conversations took place hastily once the news was out, which is the right thing to do. The wrong thing to do appears to have been take a unilateral decision that we can call this game off. Now, Wigan Rugby Club must have some special circumstances in terms of the rules because of the lease, which I'm not a party to, but it seems to be Wigan Athletic are the preferred.
Yeah, they take seniority, don't they?
Whilst the lease is theoretically owned by a holding company, the holding company is owned by the same person who owns the football club.
Yeah.
So yeah, the stadium company has a preferred tenant, and it's not the rugby club. To everyone other than Wigan rugby fans, it's great glee, and we deserve to be embarrassed about that. But hey, we've got the biggest stadium in Super League, or the second biggest.
You don't deserve. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Que sera, sera.
No, giving us stick, fair enough. It's a fact of things.
Bollocks.
We don't have the debts that some clubs have, but
Let's focus on the thing.
Then, yeah. So all of that is how it kind of unravels. Now the RFL have to take some involvement because they'll have known, just like we'll have told them when Wigan Athletic were playing, and they yet still schedules at home the week after what would have been the World Club Championship when we would have been at home. On a Friday night in February, it's bound for trouble.
Yeah.
So why Wigan and the RFL hadn't sorted this out in November, I do not know.
No.
But they should have done. We've now... The sensible thing did in the end happen, and Widnes deserve a lot of credit for that. But Widnes are not losing out. Let's not kid ourselves
they're not
that Widnes are losing out. Some more effort towards Widnes' fans should be offered by Wigan, like cheap tickets to the reverse fixture, or free transport to the reverse fixture, like Alan Walker suggested to me, or something like that should be extended to them, certainly, because they turned up in numbers just like we did to this game. There was actually 300 people more at this game than there was at the fixture last season, which was in round 17 or 18 or something.
Yes.
Plenty of time to plan for that fixture to get to it. This time you had 8 hours. It was announced at 10 to 12.
That's right.
That the game was on, but there was more people there, right? People talk about this tenner a ticket, lark. I can take a photo of the ticket that I paid £10 for the exact same fixture last year in August if people want to, or July, sorry, whenever it was. Right. If people want to see that the ticket price was exactly the same. So there's no loss of revenue there compared to last year's game. And actually, under the ticketing policy this year, the RFL's ticketing policy, the Super League ticketing policy, is 25% of the gate receipts of tickets your club sells at your club's ticket office are retained by your club for away games. Okay, well, Wigan weren't able to sell a single ticket through their own ticket office, so every single pound of those £10 that was put through the turnstiles at Widnes went to Widnes, none of it to Wigan. So again, that's actually, if you think about it, maybe 25% more than last year's revenues for Widnes for the same game, for the same price, plus the compensation that Wigan paid for them, for the turnaround, for the fact that the turnaround happened too late for TV broadcasters to not... Well, Sky got away with it because they got to have the game that they should have always picked in the first place, and they were not going to go back on them. They were not going to make the mistake that they just got out of.
Yeah, exactly. That will go to Widnes then.
But Wigan have paid compensation. I don't know what the agreement to that amount is, but it sounded like a substantial sum from the way both camps were talking about it. So Widnes haven't lost out.
No.
I'm really sorry for Gareth that he lost out, because obviously his circumstances...
Yeah.
means he couldn't get to the game. I actually live a very similar distance away from Widnes to Gareth, and my circumstances, I was able to.
Yeah.
So everyone's circumstances are different. Do you see what I mean?
Individual.
And I feel sorry for Gareth because I've had myself miss games because of our problems with our ground situation in the past. And
I think that's the thing. The key point to make is that individual circumstances will have had an impact on whether or not this is a problem for you or not. But broadly, Widnes as a club haven't lost out. The game got put on, and that allows rugby league to have
Widnes can't great credit.
Exactly, precisely.
And then, like a final point for Rob, in terms of bringing the game into disrepute, I made the point to him.
I think you're taking a piss.
I made the point to him that no one fined any clubs for their walls falling down of their shabby old stadiums, or areas being deemed unsafe for spectators to go to.
Yeah, we'll just close those.
So I think that's as much disrepute. No, I had a joke with Rob about that, and then. The thing about the punishment side of things, though, it sounds like we've not really followed the laws with the rules.
Right.
I don't think there'll be any sort of points issue. We got the game on. It's cost us money to get the game on.
Yeah. So it could be just a warning.
Both teams were compliant in having the game put on. And Widnes' main issue was that they were never consulted about getting the game on before we announced the game was off anyway.